Jack Williams leaned back in his chair and rubbed his tired eyes. His office walls were covered with photos of smiling teenagers in hiking gear standing on mountain peaks, beside rushing rivers, and in dense forests. 20 years as a scout leader had taken him and his troops to every challenging environment Earth had to offer. "There has to be something new," he muttered, scrolling through the data tablet on his desk. The screen displayed the newly released Galactic Federation planetary catalog. After joining the Federation 5 years ago, humans were finally getting access to information about other worlds. Jack had been hoping to find a new challenge for his advanced scout troop. His finger stopped on a strange entry. Planet DX-2991, Class 13. What does Class 13 mean? He wondered aloud. He tapped the designation, and a warning popped up. Asterisk warning. Class 13 designation indicates a planet completely uninhabitable by all known sentient species. Entry into Class 13 atmospheres is strictly prohibited without special clearance asterisk. Instead of being scared off, Jack felt a smile spread across his face. He tapped for more information. The report was a list of deadly features. Acid rain strong enough to melt standard ship hulls, temperature swings from 120 degrees Fahrenheit during the day to minus 70 degrees Fahrenheit at night, air filled with toxic gases, and animals that could eat through metal. But what caught Jack's attention were the images. Despite all these dangers, DX-2991 was beautiful. Mountains of deep purple stone rose from valleys, filled with plants that looked like emerald crystals. Skies swirled with clouds in shades of amber and gold. "This is exactly what we need," Jack whispered. He pulled up another screen and began to type an application for a special permit. Under purpose of visit, he wrote, recreational camping and survival training. When he reached the section asking how visitors would survive the deadly conditions, he simply wrote, "We're humans. We'll figure it out." The next morning, Jack called a meeting with his 5 best junior leaders: Alex, Mike, Lisa, Tom, and Kate. All were 18 or 19, with years of survival training. "I found our next big adventure," Jack announced, projecting images of DX-2991 onto the wall. "Whoa, those colors are amazing," said Lisa, leaning forward. "What's the catch?" asked Tom, always the cautious one. "Those plants look like they could eat you." Jack grinned. "Some of them probably could. This planet is classified as completely uninhabitable." Instead of looking worried, the teen's eyes lit up. "Nobody's ever camped there?" Mike asked. "No species has ever tried," Jack confirmed. "The Federation thinks it's impossible." Kate rubbed her hands together. "Oh, they haven't met humans yet, have they?" Over the next week, they researched everything available about Class 13 planets. They designed special gear to protect against the acid and extreme temperatures. They studied the limited information on the planet's dangerous wildlife. When the Federation sent a confused response to Jack's application, requesting an in-person meeting, he wasn't surprised. "Pack your presentation gear," he told his team. "We need to convince some aliens that humans do impossible things for fun." As their shuttle approached the gleaming Federation headquarters, Jack looked at his young team, all excited by the challenge ahead. "Remember," he said, "throughout human history, we've climbed mountains just because they were there. We've surfed giant waves, jumped out of perfectly good airplanes, and camped in blizzards. To us, the word uninhabitable just sounds like an interesting weekend." The team laughed, but their eyes showed determination. What other species saw as a death trap, humans saw as an adventure waiting to happen. They weren't just going to visit DX-2991. They were going to turn the most dangerous planet in the galaxy into humanity's newest camping destination. Officer Trill stared at the permit application on his screen. His 4 eyes blinked in different patterns, showing his confusion. In 20 years working for the Galactic Federation's Planetary Access Department, he had never seen anything like this. Recreational camping on DX-2991. He said out loud, "That's impossible." Trill's assistant, a tall blue-skinned being named Mox, looked over his shoulder. "Is this some kind of joke? No one goes to Class 13 planets. The applicants are humans," Trill said, as if that explained everything. Humans had only joined the Federation 5 years ago, but they already had a reputation for doing strange things. Still, this was beyond unusual. Trill pressed a button on his desk. "Schedule a full panel review for this application, and tell the humans to come in person." 3 days later, Jack and his team walked into a large meeting room at Federation headquarters. 12 aliens of different species sat at a curved table. None of them looked happy. "Mr. Williams," said Trill, sitting in the center, "your application has been concerning to us. We believe there may be a misunderstanding about what Class 13 means." Jack smiled. "No misunderstanding. We know it's considered uninhabitable." "Not just considered," said a rocky-skinned alien to Trill's left. "It is uninhabitable. The atmosphere alone would dissolve your lungs in minutes. That's why we developed these," said Lisa, pulling up images of their special suits. "Triple-layered protection with automatic acid neutralizers." The aliens looked unimpressed. "And what about the temperature changes?" asked another official. "Day-to-night shifts of nearly 200 degrees would kill most species." Tom stepped forward. "We've designed shelters based on our Arctic camping technology, but upgraded with new insulation materials." For 2 hours, the Federation panel presented dangers, and the humans responded with solutions. The aliens grew more frustrated with each answer. Finally, Trill pushed a button, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed a massive creature with 12 legs and acid dripping from its fangs. "This is the Verex, a predator on DX-2991. It can smell blood from 10 miles away and run at 60 miles per hour. What will you do when you meet this?" Jack looked thoughtful. "Is it attracted to any particular sense besides blood?" The question caught the panel off guard. "It hates the smell of sulfur compounds," one scientist admitted. "Then we'll incorporate sulfur into our camp perimeter," Jack said simply. Trill slammed his hand on the table. "You don't understand. This planet was classified as uninhabitable for a reason. Why would you want to go there?" Jack pulled out his tablet and started showing pictures. Humans climbing mountains in blizzards, diving with sharks, rafting down dangerous rapids. Throughout our history, humans have sought out challenges. We climb mountains because they're there. We explore caves because they're dark. We go to dangerous places because overcoming danger is part of who we are. The room fell silent. The aliens looked at the images of humans smiling in places that should have killed them. "We're not asking for permanent settlement rights," Jack continued. "Just a 2-week expedition permit to prove it can be done safely." The panel members looked at each other. Finally, Trill sighed. "We will grant a provisional permit for 1 expedition of 6 humans. You must take a Federation observer. At the first sign of serious danger, you will evacuate immediately." "Agreed," Jack said, trying not to smile too widely. As they left the building, his team could barely contain their excitement. "They think we'll fail," whispered Kate. "They don't understand humans yet," Jack replied. "We don't just survive in harsh places. We turn them into vacation spots." Mike laughed. 2 weeks from now, we'll be roasting marshmallows on a Class 13 planet." What the Federation didn't realize was that for humans, uninhabitable wasn't a warning. It was a challenge. The small ship shook violently as it entered DX-2991's atmosphere. Red warning lights flashed across the control panel. "Hull integrity at 82% and dropping," reported the ship's computer. "Acid levels in atmosphere higher than recommended safety limits." Dex, the Federation observer, gripped his seat tightly. His gray skin had turned almost white with fear. "We should turn back," he said. Jack checked the readings and shook his head. "We're fine. The ship can handle it until we land." The humans didn't seem worried at all. Lisa and Kate were looking out the window, pointing excitedly at the purple mountains below. Mike and Tom were checking their gear one last time. Alex was recording everything with a camera. "Look at those crystal forests," Lisa said. "They're even more beautiful than the pictures." The ship's computer spoke again. "Warning. Hull integrity at 70%. Landing recommended within 5 minutes." "Setting down in the valley," Jack said, taking control from the autopilot. "It looks sheltered enough for a base camp." The landing was rough. As soon as they touched down, they could hear the acid rain hitting the ship's outer hull with a hissing sound. Dex looked terrified. "The ship is being eaten away," he said. "We won't be able to leave." "Relax," said Tom. "The hull is designed to handle this for up to 3 weeks. We'll be gone in 2. The humans began putting on their protective suits. Thick, clear material with blue glowing lines running through it. They looked like they were getting ready for a party, not preparing to step onto a deadly planet. "Everyone remember the safety protocols," Jack said. "Suits sealed at all times. Stay in visual contact. No touching unknown plants or animals." "Are you really going out there?" Dex asked in disbelief. "That's why we came," Alex replied with a grin. The airlock door opened with a hiss. A gust of swirling amber air rushed in, carrying the strong smell of chemicals. The humans switched on their suit filters and stepped outside. The acid rain fell in golden drops, sizzling when it hit the ground. But it just rolled off their special suits. Jack reached out a gloved hand, catching a drop and watching it bounce harmlessly off the material. "First test passed," he said. "Suits are working perfectly." "I can't believe you're doing this," Dex said through their communication system. He had stayed inside the ship but was watching through cameras. The humans ignored him. They were too busy taking pictures of themselves standing on a Class 13 planet. Lisa even laid down on the ground to make an acid snow angel, moving her arms and legs while the others laughed. For the next few hours, they set up their camp. They assembled dome-shaped shelters made of the same material as their suits. They unpacked equipment and set up a perimeter marked with small devices that released sulfur compounds to keep predators away. When night began to fall, the temperature dropped rapidly. Within an hour, it went from 105 degrees Fahrenheit to 0 degrees Fahrenheit and kept dropping. "Temperature now at -40 and still falling," reported Dex, who was sure the humans would now rush back to the ship. Instead, they activated their shelter's heating systems and gathered inside the largest dome. Through the clear walls, Dex could see them sitting in a circle, eating from food packets and talking excitedly about what they had seen. "They're having dinner," Dex said in disbelief. "The most deadly planet in the sector, and they're having a dinner party." He sent his first report back to the Federation. Day 1 on DX-2991. The humans appeared to be treating this deadly environment as some kind of vacation. They are currently eating snacks and taking pictures of acid burns on rocks. I cannot explain their behavior except to say that everything we thought we knew about survival instincts may not apply to humans. Outside, the night grew colder and the acid rain fell harder, but inside their dome, the humans were planning tomorrow's hike to the Crystal Forest, completely unbothered by the fact that they were camping in hell. 2 weeks had passed since the humans landed on DX-2991. Dex sat in the ship, updating his daily report to the Federation. He kept deleting and rewriting sentences, struggling to explain what he was seeing. Finally, he wrote, "Day 14. The humans have not only survived, but seem to be enjoying themselves. I don't understand how this is possible." Outside the ship, the humans had established a surprisingly comfortable camp. They had set up 6 domes connected by short tunnels, creating a small village. Solar panels collected energy during the day, powering their equipment through the freezing nights. Jack and Mike were working on a device they'd built from spare parts. It collected the acid rain and ran it through a series of filters. "Water purifier version 3 is working," Mike announced as clear water dripped into a container. "Now we can take proper showers." Nearby, Lisa and Kate were mapping the area on a 3D hologram. They had discovered that the acid rain followed predictable patterns tied to the planet's 3 small moons. If we time our excursions between these cycles, Lisa explained to Dex, who had reluctantly joined them, we can explore with minimal suit damage. But why would you want to explore more? Dex asked. Isn't survival enough? The humans laughed. We're not just surviving, said Kate. We're learning. Look at this. She showed Dex images of what they called the safe zones, areas where natural rock formations blocked the worst of the acid rain, creating pockets of less hostile environment. The Federation surveys never picked this up, Jack said. They just scanned from orbit and declared the whole planet Class 13. Tom and Alex returned from their morning patrol, carrying samples of local plants in sealed containers. You won't believe what we found, Tom said excitedly. Some of these crystal plants absorb and neutralize the acid. That's how they survive here. Jack's eyes lit up. If we can understand how they do that, we might be able to improve our suits and shelters. While the humans talked enthusiastically about their discoveries, a low rumbling sound made everyone go quiet. The ground shook slightly. What was that? Dex asked nervously. Probably our friend coming to visit, Lisa said calmly. Through the amber mist, a massive shape appeared. It was the Verex, the 12-legged predator the Federation had warned them about. It was even more terrifying in person, standing 15 feet tall with acid dripping from its fangs. Dex froze in fear, but Jack just checked a device on his wrist. Right on schedule, Jack said. It comes by every day around this time. The Verex approached the perimeter, sniffed the air, and made a growling sound. Then it turned and moved away, disappearing into the mist. The sulfur perimeter is working perfectly, Tom said. It doesn't like the smell, just like the Federation data said. You're not afraid of that thing? Dex asked in disbelief. We respect it, Jack corrected. It's just trying to survive, like us. We studied its behavior patterns and found a way to keep it away without harming it. That evening, as acid rain pounded their shelters, the humans gathered in the main dome to plan their final days on the planet. Instead of discussing their return trip, they were making lists of improvements for next time. Next time, Dex repeated when he heard this. You want to come back to this death trap? Of course, Jack said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world. And bring more people. DX-2991 could be the perfect training ground for our advanced scouts. As Dex updated his final report, he added, the Federation must reconsider its understanding of adaptability. The humans don't just endure this environment. They problem-solve their way through it. What we classified as uninhabitable, they see as a puzzle to be solved. I believe we may need a new classification system entirely. 3 months after Jack's team returned to Earth, the Galactic Federation's central communication hub was flooded with messages about planet DX-2991. Officer Trill scrolled through the requests on his screen and shook his head in disbelief. 217 applications for visits to a Class 13 planet, all from humans. His assistant Mox looked over his shoulder. And look at this. They're calling it Camp Hellscape in their messages. They named it after a place of eternal suffering. I don't understand humans, Trill muttered. The video reports from Earth were even more confusing. Jack Williams had become a celebrity among human adventure seekers. His team's footage from DX-2991, showing them hiking through crystal forests, building shelters against acid storms, and observing the massive Verex from a safe distance, had gone viral across Earth's networks. Now humans were lining up to experience the planet themselves. The Federation Council called an emergency meeting. Representatives from 50 species gathered to discuss what they called the human situation. The head counselor, a tall being with silver skin, addressed the room. The data from Observer Dex is clear. Humans not only survived on DX-2991, but they consider it a desirable destination. We must decide how to respond. A scientist stepped forward. We've studied their methods. Their adaptations are impressive. They've created materials that resist the acid and structures that withstand the temperature changes. But why would anyone want to go there? Asked another council member. There's no profit, no resources worth collecting. Jack Williams was invited to address the council. He stood before the alien representatives, showing images from their expedition. For humans, challenging ourselves is how we grow stronger, he explained. Throughout our history, we've sought out difficult environments, climbing mountains, diving to ocean depths, exploring caves, and crossing deserts. We don't do it for resources. We do it for the experience. The council debated for days. Finally, they made an unprecedented decision. DX-2991 would remain classified as Class 13 for most species, but humans would be granted special permission to establish a permanent outpost there. 6 months later, Jack stood outside the new base on DX-2991. The building was much larger than their original camp, with reinforced walls and advanced air filtering systems. 20 humans now lived and worked there, running what they called extreme adventure tours for other humans. Base to Guide Team 3, crackled Jack's radio. Your group is approaching Averax territory. Proceed with caution. Copy that, came the reply. Tourists are excited, taking the observation route as planned. Jack smiled. 3 different groups were out exploring the planet today, each led by experienced guides trained to handle the dangers. The tourists wore enhanced protection suits and followed strict safety rules, but they were having the time of their lives in one of the most dangerous places in the galaxy. A ship appeared in the amber sky above. It was the weekly supply transport from Earth, but this one carried special passengers. Federation scientists coming to study how humans were surviving on DX-2991. As the ship landed, Jack checked his tablet. There were 50 new applications from humans wanting to visit Camp Hellscape. There was also a message from a non-human, a young Federation scientist named Mox who wanted to try the beginner's tour with extra safety precautions. It's starting, Jack told Lisa, who was now his second in command at the base. Other species are getting curious. How long until we need to build a hotel? She joked. Jack looked out at the purple mountains and acid rain. Give it a year. What was once uninhabitable will become the galaxy's most extreme vacation spot. Behind them, the base's sign swayed in the caustic wind. It read, "Welcome to Camp Hellscape. If the acid doesn't kill you, the view will take your breath away." 1 year after establishing the permanent base on DX-2991, Jack stood at the landing pad watching a very unusual ship descend through the amber clouds. Unlike the standard human transports, this was a Federation diplomatic vessel. "They're really coming," Lisa said, standing beside him in her acid-resistant suit. "I didn't think they'd actually show up." 50 brave souls from 20 different species, Jack replied. The first interspecies extreme camping challenge. The ship landed with a soft hiss. Its hull was specially reinforced against the acid rain, which pattered against it like deadly music. The door opened, and a familiar gray figure stepped out, wearing the most advanced protection suit Jack had ever seen. It covered every inch of his body, with triple-layered shielding and multiple backup systems. "Dex," Jack called out. "You came back." "Against my better judgment," the Federation observer replied, his voice coming through external speakers. "But I couldn't let others attempt this without proper guidance." Behind Dex, other aliens cautiously emerged from the ship. Some had 4 arms, others had scales or feathers. All wore protection suits similar to Dex's, custom-made for their unique biologies. Their eyes widened as they took in the hostile landscape that humans had been visiting for fun. "Welcome to Camp Hellscape," Tom announced, now the head of guest relations. "Your adventure begins now." Over the next week, humans guided their alien visitors through carefully planned experiences on DX-2991. The routes were much safer than those taken by human tourists. No close encounters with Averax predators, no hiking during acid storms, but still thrilling for beings who had never imagined setting foot on a Class 13 planet. A Federation official named Mork, with blue skin and 4 eyes, sat with Jack in the observation dome. Outside, the planet's 3 moons created strange shadows across the crystal forest. "I don't understand," Mork said. "3 of my assistants died just preparing the initial survey of this planet from orbit. Now there are humans taking selfies next to acid geysers." Jack smiled. "We see danger differently. For us, controlling fear is a skill we practice, like any other." "The Federation has been studying your species more closely," Mork admitted. "Your history is concerning. You developed space travel while still fighting wars among yourselves. You explored your entire planet even though large parts of it could kill you. And now we're helping others experience things they never thought possible," Jack pointed out. "That's progress, isn't it?" In another dome, Alex was teaching a group of aliens how to cook marshmallows over a special heating unit designed to simulate a campfire. "You burned the food on purpose?" asked a reptilian visitor, looking confused. "Trust me," Alex said. "A slightly burnt marshmallow is one of Earth's greatest delicacies." The reptilian being carefully tried the gooey treat, then his eyes widened. "This is pleasant. We are eating food cooked on a Class 13 planet." On the last day of the event, all the visitors gathered for a ceremony. Despite their initial fear, many were now reluctant to leave. They had discovered something humans had known all along. Facing danger in a controlled way could be exhilarating. "Before coming here," Dex said, addressing the group, "I thought humans were reckless. Now I see they simply have a different relationship with challenges. They don't avoid them, they prepare for them." Jack presented each visitor with a special badge, a small crystal from DX-2991's forests, safely treated and mounted in metal. It read, "I survived Camp Hellscape." As the Federation ship prepared to depart, Mork approached Jack one last time. "The Federation Council is considering creating a new department," he said. "Extreme environmental tourism. Would you be interested in consulting?" Jack grinned. "Are there other Class 13 planets we haven't explored yet?" Mork's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "You can't possibly be thinking of visiting more of these death traps." "Of course we are," Jack replied. "And now, it seems we won't be going alone." 5 years had passed since humans first set foot on DX-2991. The small outpost had grown into a thriving settlement with multiple buildings connected by enclosed walkways. Transparent domes dotted the landscape, each housing different activities for visitors. Today was special. Ships from across the galaxy were landing at the expanded spaceport. Flags of 50 different worlds fluttered in the acidic breeze, protected by special coatings developed by human scientists. "Hard to believe it's been 5 years," Jack said, adjusting his formal uniform. He no longer wore a full protection suit, just a lightweight breathing mask and acid-resistant clothing. Human engineers had improved the technology so much that only minimal protection was needed for short outdoor activities. "From certain death to tourist attraction in 5 years, Lisa replied. Only humans could manage that. They walked toward the largest dome, where hundreds of beings from across the Federation had gathered. The inside was decorated with images showing the transformation of DX-2991. The earliest photos showed Jack's team in their bulky suits setting up the first camp. The latest showed human children playing in a protected garden area. At the center of the dome stood the head counselor of the Galactic Federation, surrounded by officials in formal attire. One of them was Dex, now the Federation's ambassador to Earth. "Welcome to this historic occasion," the head counselor began. "Today, we officially recognize what humans have proven through their actions. Planet DX-2991 can no longer be classified as simply uninhabitable." The crowd applauded. Many of them were wearing badges that read, "I survived Camp Hellscape," now a coveted status symbol among adventurous beings throughout the galaxy. "For the first time in Federation history," the counselor continued, "we are creating a new planetary classification. DX-2991 will become the first planet designated as Class 8. habitable for humans, survivable for others with assistance. A new planetary designation plaque was unveiled. The old Class 13. Extreme danger warning had been replaced with the new classification. The crowd cheered even louder. Jack was invited to speak. As he looked out at the gathered beings, he saw representatives from species that once thought humans were crazy for even attempting to visit this world. Now they were here themselves, celebrating humanity's achievement. 5 years ago, we landed here because we saw a challenge, not danger, Jack said. Humans have always done this. When we see mountains, we climb them. When we see oceans, we cross them. When someone says, impossible, we hear, try harder. Many in the crowd nodded. They had come to understand this strange human trait. But the real success isn't that we survived here, Jack continued. It's that we've shown that barriers can be overcome. What's impossible today becomes possible tomorrow with enough determination. After the ceremony, Jack walked with Dex and Mork through one of the garden domes. Plants from Earth now grew alongside carefully cultivated crystal plants from DX2991, creating a beautiful blend of alien and human flora. There are rumors, Mork said quietly, that some humans have requested permits to visit Class 14 planets. Dex's eyes widened. Class 14. But those are the quarantine worlds. They're not just uninhabitable, they're actively hostile to all life. Jack tried to keep a straight face but couldn't help smiling. We might have submitted some preliminary applications. You can't be serious, Dex said. Even with all your technology, Class 14 planets are certain death. That's what you said about this place, Jack reminded him, gesturing at the thriving settlement around them. 5 years ago, you were certain we wouldn't last 2 weeks here. Mork looked thoughtful. What does it humans say? Never bet against humanity when the impossible is on the line. Something like that, Jack agreed. Besides, we've already started training the next expedition team. After all, the galaxy is full of impossible places just waiting for humans to turn them into campgrounds. As if to emphasize his point, a group of human and alien children ran past them, playing a game of tag in a world once deemed too deadly for any life to survive. The impossible had become not just possible, but ordinary, and humanity was just getting started.